This video is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to grow your business online.
What's up, dude? This drippy, tender, mouth-watering morsel isn't just a burger, it's an entire experience all on its own. Inspired by the mighty French onion soup, today I deliver to you the French onion burger. And as always, there is no time to waste. Now let's go! To begin this recipe, we should definitely start with the onions because that takes the longest. And here I just have a couple of yellow onions. You could use another onion if you want, but yellow ones work just fine. I'll just slice them directly in half before taking off that little end piece and peeling. From here, I'll make a little V-cut to get out that root, turn sideways again, and starting at a little angle, we're gonna julienne the onion. When you get about 3/4 of the way through, flip and repeat the process. And it's as simple as that, my friends. Just repeat the process with the rest of your onion. And I'm hitting all my onions with rosemary salt. If you know, you know. And this is gonna begin to draw the moisture out of the onion before they even go into the pot, which in turn should help them caramelize a bit faster. You can absolutely just use salt if you wanna learn how to make the famous rosemary salt. Link is in the corner. Start to give these a little mix and massage right away. And I know this may seem like a lot of onions, but when you slow cook these onions like we're about to do, my eye sucks. They're gonna break down tremendously and you wanna have leftovers, trust me. I'm adding unsalted butter to a medium heat pot. Once melted, just add your onions, along with any juice that might be in there. Whew. And another thing we can do to speed up these onions is just pop a lid on it for the first part of this process. We won't have a lid on the whole way, but for now it's trapping all the steam and heat and juices, and it will certainly accelerate the process. Which is nice because we all want our food faster, and as you can see, here it is after 20 minutes. All I did was remove the lid 2 or 3 times and give it a little stir. And you can see in the bottom there all those juices that came out. It's really starting to break down the onion pretty quick. Now I'm gonna leave the lid off and we'll start stirring them a little bit more frequently. You just need to be a little more careful now as they can start browning a lot quicker. Just keep an eye on them and keep stirring until they start turning golden brown. And you can leave them at this stage if you wish, but I'm gonna start cooking them down even more until they're dark brown. When you take them to this stage, there is just so much umami and flavor inside of those onions. Time to add the alcohol. Now starting with a little bit of brandy. If you don't have this, just use a little bit of whiskey. Woo! And this is deglazing all those little bits, as you can see off the bottom of the pan, and that is instantly evaporated. Next, I'm going in with sherry wine. If you can't find sherry wine, just use some white wine, that will work as well. Sherry wine going in, and you can see the color now, it's just gotten so insanely beautiful. If you don't drink alcohol, you could use a little bit of white wine vinegar in combination with lemon juice, that will work. Or you could just use my next ingredient, which is a little bit of sherry vinegar. It's optional, just to bring a little bit more acidity into this. When the alcohol is cooked down to pretty much nothing, as you see right here, we're gonna add in our beef stock, and over medium heat, we're gonna continue cooking this down. At this point, I'm also gonna add in a little bit of stripped thyme. Also optional, you don't need it, but I love thyme. Essentially, what we're doing here is making like a super thick, concentrated version of a French onion soup that will be the right texture to sauce up a burger. We don't want it to be too thin, we don't want it to be too thick. So continue cooking this down over medium heat, and while that happens, let's talk about the cheese. Can we talk about the cheese, please? Parmesan or Parmigiano Reggiano. I have a master plan for this cheese, but it's for the bun. You'll see in a minute. These other 2 cheeses are Raclette and Gruyere, which are 2 of the best melting cheeses on earth. We're gonna use those to top the burger. The Parmesan, I'm just gonna shred up on a microplane. The Gruyere, I like to trim off this stinky edge, and I'll just get some nice slices for a burger. And by the way, Gruyere is the typical cheese you would see used on French onion soup. Raclette is not, it just happens to be one of my favorite cheeses to use. And with the Raclette, I'm gonna do the same thing, trim off the edges, and make some nice slices.
Before we assemble the burger, let me take a second to thank our sponsor.
You must have literally been living under a rock if you haven't heard about Squarespace by now. It is the all-in-one platform for building your brand, your business online. They can help you out with all your e-commerce needs, including templates, inventory management, a simple checkout process, and secure payments. It doesn't matter what you're selling, Squarespace has merchandising features to make your products look their best online. Ever heard of SEO? That's how people find you as well as how they find your products. And Squarespace comes with a plethora of integrated features and useful guides that will help you out with just that. Squarespace is also awesome for scheduling, and it helps you to easily schedule appointments and classes with your clients. Check out squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to blast off, go to squarespace.com/ThatDudeCanCook to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Needless to say, Squarespace is killing it. Now back to the video. After 20 minutes of reducing, you can see the liquid here is basically gone, which is what we want. Turn the heat down to low and start adding in little cubes of cold unsalted butter. This is what we're gonna use to finish our onions. When those first cubes are almost all the way worked in, add a couple more. This is adding in the much needed a little bit of fat to balance things out, as well as making it a little bit thicker. Time to give this a taste. This is gonna be an insane burger. Oh my God, there's a hawk! For the ground beef, I would choose something that's at least 20% fat. Although lately I've been grinding my own meat, this is probably more like 30% fat, which I'm definitely okay with. But use whatever you got. Make a nice ball, throw it down onto some parchment paper, another piece on top, take this little burger press here, smash it out. And you wanna make this about an inch bigger than your bun is gonna be, because it will shrink. Something like that looks about good. And always divot the middle so it ends up flat after you've cooked it. Otherwise it will be like a little meatball. Season it up, just a little bit of salt. And Sergeant Gilbert reporting for duty. That's black pepper. I've got a pan here over high heat. I'm just adding a touch of neutral oil. This beef is so fatty, it just does not need a lot of oil. Season up the other side, just about 3 minutes. Gonna give it a flip. Incredible sear on this thing. Wowza. Now we just add some of our cheese, gruyere, and raclette, and I'll just melt this under the broiler for 45 seconds. The last thing we need to do is prepare our amazing bun. This is just a brioche bun, but you can use whatever you like. We'll open it up. I'll spread on a thin layer of cold unsalted butter, and then take your bun and dip it into the grated Parmesan cheese. Look at that. Wow, this is insane. And drop those into a low to medium heat pan. Put a little bit of pressure on the back. If you're using brioche, you definitely want to keep the heat lower, and we're just gonna let these brown. And after 3 minutes, your Parmesan cheese will have turned golden brown and crusted onto the bun itself. It's a beautiful thing, my friends. The last thing we're gonna do is make Dijonnaise, which is something I highly recommend making a homemade version of. Just every time I try to share those things on social media, it just never seems to land. So we'll make the easy version today. All I'm doing is adding some Dijon mustard to some mayonnaise, along with a little bit of white pepper, could also use black, and a little white wine vinegar. Give it a mix and your Dijonnaise is done. Start with some of our Dijonnaise. A good spread. Doing that on both sides of the bun. Meat going down. God, that fits the bun absolutely perfect. Of course, our insane onions over the top. If they drip down the side, that's only a good thing. This is meant to be a little bit of a sloppy burger. And we cap it. Oh my God. Oh. Oh my God. Without my sweet friend, that's ridiculous. It's meant to be sloppy. Marcus, you gotta try it.
You gotta make it.
This is what I would do.
Oh yeah.
You know?
A little sloppy.
Oh, look at that bite. I like any food where I have to wash my face afterwards.
Anything that you almost get it on your ears can't be bad.
Exactly. Until next time, you know I love you and I'm out.